Righto, Brian, let's start with this. This was a big game. This was a huge game. Sharks led 28 points to 12. There wasn't long to go. The Broncos ultimately come over the top, 34 points to 28, just under a healthy crowd of 40,000 at Suncorp Stadium. Reece Walsh, I've got to say this, he started with an knee injury, but I tell you what you get with Reece. They had completed 10 of their first 10 in the second half, but I reckon in that time, I was surprised. I thought, how they completed 10? Adam Blair, Justin Horrow were with me. I reckon he threw 6 balls to the ground, but they still completed the sets.
It just went, yeah.
He was just the ultimate gunslinger.
He was a bit erratic. Sharks, they'll be devastated about this. Brisbane were dreadful. In that first 40 minutes, they had nothing.
No.
Sharks were just making breaks on the edges. Both back rowers stormed through, and then their kicking game in the second half, the Sharks. When you're leading 16-0, just kick long, chase, and tackle. I was pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
Watching them, trying to finesse their way. When you're in the lead.
Yes.
And this is what's frustrating about watching them. They've got so many good players in their side, and they just let themselves down with bad decisions.
Do you know what annoyed me? And Serraldo will be all over this, and I'm sure Fitzgibbon is all over it equally. They got the game in control, right? And I get it. If you nail it, you can turn the game big time, but you're leading. And I think you asked Serraldo around the Matt Burton bomb.
Yeah.
And they're hard to execute.
I said to him, why don't you do that every time? And he says, because under pressure, sometimes they don't go where they should.
So Sharks are leading, and Trindle's got the ball 10 in from the Western touchline, and they're kicking on the last with that torpedo attempt. I'm like, you're winning the game. Just get the ball down in what they call the cage and just defend it. Like, why are you taking such a risky play when you don't need to? Like, it was.
Yeah, I feel these two, if they do get into the 8, they're just going to be making up the numbers. If they're playing semi-final football.
Broncos included.
Broncos included.
You know what? So they're getting well beaten, and then they had one set, I think it was after a try, and it might have been the Hetherington try or the break, and they just punched through the middle. Yeah. And it was almost like, okay, Madge said, okay, boys, you've had to go doing what you like to do. It hasn't worked. Do it my way. And they did that for 5 minutes, and they cracked them open.
Well, that's in the first half, but they do this every game, Joel, because they've got those big front rows. What?
Was that Brian?
What did I say, Joel?
You really gave me a
I'm just going to give you a dressing down. You got the best 2 front rowers, arguably some of the best front rowers in the game. They get down to the good ball, as we like to say, and they do those blocks for blocks. Yeah. It's like they're a training run.
Yep.
They don't work.
No.
Blocks do not work. As far as I'm concerned, when Renault went back inside to Hetherington and they scored, Reece Walsh just got the ball dummied and go.
Yep.
I feel that at that side, they're just doing these blocks because everyone else does
Hit the lead runner. And Sean the Trader made a very, very valid point where so often we're seeing tries. Lindsay Collins scored the first try against the Cowboys where it's just forwards combining. Everyone thinks the block's coming, and it's a forward to a forward. That is a potent play. That is a very, very potent play. Anyway, the Broncos will host the Warriors. This is a big game. Broncos host the Warriors on Saturday afternoon. Forgive run, I think, for the Warriors. And Sharks head to Amy Park for a clash with the Melbourne Storm. If you want a power moments, thanks to Milwaukee, forever the trade. What about this guy, Payne Haas? Gee whiz. So we, in commentary, said after about 15 minutes, I said, boys, keep an eye on Payne Haas. He's in a fair bit of bother.
He looked busted,
He looked busted. And he eventually came off and had his leg tended to. But he comes off the field at the end of the game with 200 metres plus.
Yeah. And you could tell he was favouring the leg.
Yeah.
But still just punching holes through the middle of them.
Wow, power moments thanks to Milwaukee. Forever the trade. Payne Haas is forever the trade. Just before we break, the Roosters 42 defeat the Cowboys 8 in an 8-try blitz from the Roosters. Mark Nwonga Nawazi, another double for him. And the rising star, thanks to Struddies, you can look good, feel good, and play your best. Good new Struddy shirt here today, actually, Brian.
Yeah, looks good. I'm wearing it.
Yes, who's your rising star this
Mine's
week?
Hugo.
Yep.
Mine is Hugo. Now, I know he's not 19 or 20. He's 22 odd. But he's still only 10 games, 11 games in his career. He's been getting better and better every game. His kicking game alone is first class. And, the Chooks, they've got these young kids coming through, these young forwards that Robbo has sort of blooded early on. And now, like Nafahu White, I know I keep rapping him every week, but he's a gun. Then you got Steep, Fiketti.
Yep. Shame about Siwa Wong.
So is it MCL?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think so, but that was a shame because they've got these guns coming through.
So that they put 40 on the Cowboys without Radley, Egan Butcher,
Yep.
Nat Butcher. So you would think those guys, when you see them being ruled out, you think, the Roosters might be a bit thin up front. But the kids they've got coming through, and they're fearless.
Yep. So Toddy Payton, they've now conceded 138 points during their past 3 losses. And the Sydney Morning Herald reporting, by the way, an MCL tear for Siwa Wong, which is usually 5 to 7 weeks, Brian.
Yeah, they're saying, I reckon he could be back in 3 to 5. I feel.
Well, we hope so. Roosters have the bye, and the Cowboys. Speaking of the bye.
What's the Cowboys doing? What the hell's going on with them?
Oh.
They had 5 representatives and past or present Origin players.
I know.
It's just like they've just given up.
Roosters have the bye, and speaking about youngsters, all thanks to Strutties, shout out to Cooper Bye, who scored the first try in the 19s State of Origin. So the son of Marcus Bye. Marcus Chase, I am.
F you, Hursty. F you. No, it's Hursty.
Was it
Gold
Hursty?
Coast.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, F you. Okay, what do you mean? It's, you say Marcus Chase. I chase here, I chase there. I chase everywhere.
He was saying Marcus Chase, not Marcus Chase. Anyway, Cooper Bye, well done to him, youngster on the rise for Strutties, and he scored the first try. Like a bit of a back rower, I think, Cooper Bye. Bit of a back rower, edge back. I'll tell you what, did you see that game?
No.
Oh, the game.
I watched the girls. The girls were good.
Yeah, the game is in great health. The halves, every one of those halves, every single one of you was brilliant.
So the raps on Woods.
Yeah.
What about the kid, Kobe?
Yep, both first graders.
Kobe Black, yep.
Both first graders. The man of the match, Andrews, first grader. The Blues 5'8", Rodwell, first grader. The fullbacks were great. It was a great game, and the game is in...
A lot of greats.
A lot of greats. Storm 25, defeat the Rabbitohs 24. We're trying to take you down a different pick a path book, folks, but the tourist keeps pushing us back into rugby league. So the Storm 25 defeat the Rabbitohs 24. Golden point with Pappy just does it again. He's just a win of the Pap. 3rd straight win for the Melbourne Storm and the 4th straight loss for the Rabbitohs. And that is now 15 wins on the trot. Craig Bellamy versus Wayne Bennett. So there you go, Brian.
The Bunnies were the better team. They would have beat the majority of all teams playing like that. It was just unfortunate. I thought Latrell nailed that left footer. I think it was about 40 out, 45 out.
Yeah.
He invariably gets them.
Yep.
But they were, Souths were the better team. And shout out to Keon playing with a fractured eye socket and just kept aiming up. He was very good. Havili, I thought he played really well.
Yeah.
Considering he's not really the number one hooker.
No.
He was coming off the bench. He's been playing prop. So it might be a little too late now, to make a run. They've got Cody should be back in a couple of weeks, and then Cam Murray. Maybe.
How far away is he?
Well, the Cheese is. They're saying Cheese will be around 20.
Right.
And Cam Murray was on track. But the way Joe Arrow was talking last night, I don't know whether he will be.
Okay, unmissable moment thanks to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you drink Wise. Alex Johnston, 4 tries in the loss, including his 16th hat-trick. He moves to within 7 of Ken Irvine. Now, I understand that that's the first time he's ever scored 4. He'd scored 5 twice before that, but the first time I believe that he's ever scored 4. Now, there's a lot of chat around this, and this chat is only going to escalate. And, look, my opinion's worth no more than the next person, Brian, but No Tungari has sent this through. Ken Irvine scored his 212th try in his 236th premiership game. Johnston currently has 206 in 2-3-4 games, so he needs 6 tries in the next 2 games. But we are really comparing oranges with apples here. And people say to me, okay, well, the number one thing you're going to hear as he gets closer to this record is, well, what if Ken Irvine...
Goalposts.
Corner post. And it's a fair argument, right? That part is a fair argument. And you can only compare to, like Don Bradman, what did they do versus the field? Well, Ken Irvine scored 212 tries and he completed that in 1965. Johnny King, who Harold Horder got 152 in the 1920s, and then Johnny King, Max King's grandfather got 143rd try in 1967. So there's a big gap between he and the field. But where I want to go to here is converse to that, and this takes nothing away from Ken Irvine because he has streeted the field over a long period of time. But I keep coming back to this. Alex Johnston has played in an era, and I keep going back to, it was only 1996, Bruce, we won the Jersey Flag, which was the 19s. I watched the 19s the other day. We would get flogged by them. The game has come so far since the late 90s, and part of the reason I think it is because in that particular grand final that we played, there was very few Polynesians. In fact, maybe none, right? They are a supreme athlete, right? Who the Fijians, the Polynesian players, the game is far bigger now, whereas, again, Ken Irvine and Don Bradman and all these greats, you can only beat who you beat, and they have beat them handsomely, right? But, yes, there's no corner post rule like they had back in the day. But there are different things that are harder and challenging for Alex Johnson. So, I mean, you just got to tip your hat to both. Like it's just what Ken Irvine achieved is massive, and what Alex Johnson is going to achieve, we hope, is massive.
Yeah. In a rebuttal to yours, they are professionals now.
That's supporting mine.
No, but yours. No, I'm saying when Kenny had to do it, he wasn't. He wasn't full time.
But I actually reckon that helps my argument. Where
well, not really, because he was doing it. He was doing it as a part time.
Yes, I understand that, but I actually think that helps my argument. Where I know people, and you know people listening, who in the late 80s, they were just professional in a very non-professional time. There were players who wouldn't make it today because they were almost the only professional players, versus a lot of people who were coming in and out of pubs and, training twice a week, but they had such an edge because they were so switched on professional. Now everyone is professional. I think it's harder to get that advantage. But as I said, Ken Irvine, 212 tries, and over a period of such a long, long time, he has streeted the field. So that needs to be commended, and it has been commended because he's got the medal named after him for the most tries. But I don't think we should diminish Alex Johnson's achievements if he is to get there because of a corner post rule when there are other factors as well. The Panthers 28, Brian, here they come. The Panthers, Chautauqua, just starting to wind up. The Warriors, who they've had a lot of travel in recent times, they saw the team list. There was no Origin stars. They probably thought they were in for an easy week, but that was not to be.
That's exactly what happened here. They were just off the pace a little bit, where the other mob Panthers, they were very committed in everything. Like their defence was back to where they were when they won those 4 competitions in a row, because it was their line speed again. It was a master class in coaching. I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one turning point, and the turning point was Jenkins with that intercept. Because if he didn't go for the intercept, they score with 15 minutes to go, whatever it was. I think they get away with it, but. Lucks of fortune.
28-18, a huge win for the Penny Panthers. And Ivan Cleary, were they together watching that game, Brian? Like, would you have done that as an Origin cohort? Would you have sort of met up somewhere in Penrith together, had a couple of snappies and watched the game?
Straight to Hooters.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I would have got 4 onion rings. I would have got the chocolate spider that they used to have.
Oh, Aunt Edna, would he love that?
Oh, it's Aunt Edna. Aunt Edna's, hasn't he got a bee in his bonnet?
Oh, yes.
He was going to Tino all night.
He was.
Yeah, no, maybe not. Maybe they were sick of each other.
Best game for Blaze in a Panther jumper?
Blaze was good. Yep. Scotty Sorensen.
Oh, Scotty Sorensen.
Played tough.
Yep.
They were just off the pace a little bit, the Warriors, and but take nothing away from the Panthers. I thought it might be a bridge too far, but they're coming now.
They're coming big time, and I love that. This could be the greatest
7
final
out of 10
series.
They've got to win 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, reckon that many?
Yep. You need 13 wins.
Okay, 13. Yeah, okay. Oh, they've got the little half pointer though. They've got the 1 point draw.
Oh, they do too.
I reckon 6 gets them there.
Okay, so let me have a look. Yeah, they've won 6. They got the halfie. I didn't know that.
I reckon that'll be enough.
So the 12 wins and a halfie. All right, I'll do your deal.
Yep.
I'll take your halfie and raise your 6.
Okay. Can I entertain you one more time on this?
They're playing the Dogs twice, though, aren't they?
If you run 5th and the Panthers run 8th, do you want to play the Panthers? Yes or no? hypothetically, you're the Sharks and you're in Sydney.
No.
And you can either have the Dolphins come down, for example, or you can take on the Panthers. Who would you play?
I would play the Dolphins. But the thing here, the Dolphins have got that Hecko's for and against.
But why don't we bring in for content?
I
Team
don't
one
say.
chooses who they play. Why do you hate that so much?
I don't hate it, but I know my head hurts.
But don't you get rewarded for finishing first or second? So let's reward said team.
So, but you want to reward 5...
For a bit of 10-minute content on Fox League or Channel 9, whoever the case may be, Peter Overton maybe throws to whoever it is.
1 and 2's fine. You can't be going down.
2 don't get a say. It's just number 1. Would you like to play 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Injuries, suspension, venues, all that plays a
part.
part.
And you're giving 5 the same.
5 gets to play 7
if
or 8.
If you're finished 5th, you have no say in.
You don't get to choose between 7 and 8.
I'll give you your 1. That's
really?
It. That's all I'm doing.
Don't you think it'd be good theatre?
It would. I don't know, Joel.
You do know. It'd be great theatre. And you know what?
This gives you motivation.
Of course. That's even better. Because you know what's going to happen. Team 4 will beat Team 1. And they were Team 3, but you made them Team 4. And you turned up and they said they wanted to play us. And you turned up and beat them. And that would be great theatre for this game. There is no downside to it, Brian.
Okay. Well,
I
did notice that the NRL, it's been mooted that the bye points might be abolished.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So
these ideas take years,
but
right?
what would you like to, out of all your fancy ideas,
I got that set on the weekend.
What would you take?
Well, I don't even want to talk about that because that is such a stupid idea. The buy points don't need me to sell that. It is so moronic that we have them.
All right. Okay.
So moronic.
But you're going to get
so I don't want to die on that hill when I think that hill's starting to get a momentum, Brian. I don't need to go there.
Okay, but you want to go back to the wild card or 1 and 5, get their choice?
I just think it's an easy kill. It's great content, great theatre. It's a little 5-minute, 10-minute bulletin, and away you go.
It's like the lottery. Does that garner much interest when they do the lottery for the picks, for the drafts? That's a question for the two.
Yeah, we don't have any of that sort of content. I reckon we've got to dial it up.
Have enough content?
But in a day of HIA, suspension, venues, home and away, it is great content. And, I mean, yes, they'll get motivation, but they're going to be motivated anyway. Who gives a rat's? If Nathan Cleary is not playing for any reason, I would then like to take the Panthers on.
Okay.
And I have earned the right in my status on the ladder to do so.
Get to the Knights.
Okay, get to the Knights. Look, Brian, this was a trappy game, a neutral venue, not quite on the moon, but it was in Perth. 26 points to 20. The Knights end the Finns' winning streak. Bradman Best, he was good.
He was great, and the biggest benefactor of that left side is Kalen. Kalen's now got Dylan Lucas, he can hit, or he can throw the cutout pass to Bradman Best, or because they're such attacking weapons, he can just dummy and go. That left side, it reminds me when he went on that run. He went on that run and got the 10. Basically, they won 10 in a row and he got 10 men of the matches and got the Dally M.
Yep.
It was the similar feeling, him coming down the short side. So Bradman Best has been such a good, it's not a replacement, I suppose, but inclusion for him.
Inclusion, I agree with that. By the way, some unfortunate news. Jack Bostock had come off scoring 4, could have scored 5, and then now he's got this bad knee injury, so his season will be done. And Fletcher Sharp, lacerated kidney. I don't think I've heard of that before.
I thought it was a head knock, but the ball, it was like he got winded. So he dived, the ball sort of popped out, and I'm wondering if the ball sort of punctured or lacerated his kidney. It's a bad one. Saw a guy damage his spleen once. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like the blood coming out and all sorts of jazz.
Tough old game these boys are playing and girls are playing. Sumo Energy, as local as a weekend barbie. And
I have seen the light!
What have you seen, Brian?
This is that Newcastle Knights need to re-sign Dane Gagai.
He's flying. He's had a great year.
He just busts tackles.
Yep.
He's a terrific bloke.
Looks light, doesn't he?
He's a terrific bloke. He's a team first mentality. And I read that he's only on 400,000.
Wow.
Considering the money that's been flowing, or a certain member who's going there next year on big money. And all he wants is something similar. Come on, Newcastle. Re-sign him.
Brian, I totally agree with that. Just on that, Didn't the Roosters have a tilt at him?
They did last year.
So what happened?
He knocked them back.
He knocked them back.
I don't know whether it was because he wanted to stay up in Newey or what, but
Right.
he would get 400,000
Yeah.
at another club.
Oh, so he should. He's going really well.
He's a former Wally Lewis medal winner.
Yep.
And it is all in the cost, but I'm signing him for 400.
Yeah,
I still believe
too.
he's worth more than that.
Yep, and it's what he does for the group. I agree, Brian. I totally agree with that.
Always plays tough.
Yep.
Always playing tough.
Yeah, he's going great. And you know what? Billy, if he had to, could easily use him still in that maroon jumper. Knights host the Raiders on Friday night. That's a big game. And the Dolphins host the Rabbitohs last night, called by Jimmy Smith and co. Eels 36 defeat the Titans 20. An injury to Jaden Campbell. And I'll tell you what, Sean the Trader had shared on Get 'em Onside. The Gold Coast Titans are travelling favourites. They are deplorable. And again, they have done it. Suspension case, Will Penasini and Riley Smith looking at suspensions for dangerous tackles. Will Penasini, of course, ultimately scores 2 games to win the match for Parramatta. And Parramatta will head to the Gong for the clash against the Dragons. Once again, Lomax taking on Gutho. So looking forward to that. Meanwhile, the Titans host the Cowboys on Sunday afternoon, which is pressureville.com.au for both sides there, Brian.
Yeah, I thought Dean Hawkins was great. We were talking to him last night on the show. It would be great to see if he had consistency in playing game after game. Because, you know, when he was at South, he was a bit of a stopgap. Now he's a backup. I just feel that he seems to be getting better. He's getting used to first grade.
Yeah.
He was a gun kid playing as a junior, and then he played in New South Wales Cup for the Bunnies. But I'd like to see him. He's obviously got to get out of Parramatta because Moses is the number 7 there. But, you know, I feel that he could offer a club something.
Mate, Josh Papalii, he has come through as a fullback, but they believe he's a 6, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
And he was good.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought Rolsey was doing. So he's going to partner. I imagine that's the idea about getting when Dylan Brown goes to Newcastle next year.
Well, Dylan Brown's back this week, right? So what happens there?
No, Dylan Brown goes back in.
Yeah, I know, I understand. But with whom? Does Dylan Brown occupy a 7 type role?
No.
With Joe Ash, or does he go with Footy Dean?
He'll go with Footy Dean.
If he goes with Footy Dean, I reckon you've got to make it very, very clear because we had a hunch that he'd play his best game with being the Pied Piper, the senior player, and he did. I think if Footy Dean gets the 7, if you're Jason Riles, you've got to say to Brownie, mate, just pretend he's Moses. He's the main man.
Well,
you just stay in your lane. Let him play his game.
Yeah.
And I think your best chance if you do that.
Was it against what game was it when he had a stormer and set up 4 tries? Brooksy might know. Was it against Penrith when Dean Hawkins was playing 7 and he set up 4 tries? It was a couple of grubbers. It was a Thursday night.
Manly?
Friday
they beat
night.
Manly.
It might be Manly.
Yeah.
Might be Manly. Yeah, I think Dylan Brown did realise he got to take a backward step.
Yeah, like just know your role, right? If he's your main man, don't try and.
But they're humming. They're humming in attack.
Mate, well done. They've improved.
They're good to watch.
Yep. Jesus, coaches are doing some wonderful jobs this year. Fletchy's unmissable moment. If you're choosing to have a drink, choose to drink wise, Brian.
I've gone with Jed Stuart.
Yep.
Scores on debut for the Raiders. Funnily enough, I saw a stat. Round 16, Ricky Stewart made his debut.
Wow.
Scored. Isn't it weird?
Yep.
Can you play the Twilight Zone music?
Or crap stat if you can't find it. Anyway.
Crap stat. I like the Twilight. Did you ever do the Tower of Terror at Disneyland? Twilight Zone. It opened up and buzz.
Oh, yeah. No, they changed the name. You know who's occupied that? The Tower of Terror is now the franchise of...
The Minions.
No, I've never seen the movie, but Chris Pratt plays a part in it.
Porkies?
No.
Animal House?
No, not Jurassic Park. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah,
okay, it's the same sort of thing?
Same sort of thing.
Sort of opens up. The Twilight Zone was the Mickey.
Yep, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let's go to Titans. They're a dog's breakfast. I'm just convinced. I can't tip them ever again.
No.
I thought, no halves. They're coming off that win. I'm done. Breakfast of the dog variety. Throw it out.
Raiders head to Newcastle, so back-to-back on the road. I don't like seeing that for teams. And the West Tigers head to Brookie for Friday night clash, where they're taking on, in many ways, an understrength Manly side. The hot tip, of course, is that Tommy Trebojevic will be named in left centre, and Lehi Hopewadi, who's back into the side, he'll go to fullback. That's the tip floating around. Talking about Selwyn Cobbo, and Where would he go? Would he go somewhere? Because at the stage he is on the outer at the Brisbane Broncos. Selwyn Cobbo has had secret talks. Not so secret, apparently, but with the Dragons as the Cowboys and a third NRL club plot poaching raids on the out-of-favour Broncos sensation. Now, the ex-Queensland Origin star...
Just say the Dolphins. Just say Jack Bostock out.
Yep.
Put him in.
Okay.
Is he going to go to the Dolphins?
Well, could they go to the Dolphins? Well, Tourist, you've got some information on that. Could Cobbo go to the Dolphins?
The Daily Telegraph have reported no, that he is not going to the Dolphins. They are not interested.
They are not interested.
Why wouldn't they be?
Well, I'll tell you, maybe one reason is it appears that it didn't work for Kevy and it didn't work for Madge, right? Would you start to get concerns about common denominator?
I thought he played good this year. I don't know.
So why is he on the outer? And why was he on the outer with Kevy?
He's played Origin. I think he was on the outer with Kevy because he came out publicly and said Adam Reynolds is the coach.
Yeah.
He came out on a podcast. He goes, "Oh yeah, Kevy's a good
why
bloke."
doesn't he wait till Adam Reynolds starts coaching the team then?
Kevy's a good bloke. I think that was just a young. Those when they get onto these podcasts, they let their guard
I
down.
understand. That's fair enough.
He's an Origin player, and he's 22 or 23.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand that he doesn't really want to leave Queensland. So therefore, do you really want to sign him if you're a Sydney club? There you go. There, New Zealand Rugby, they are sniffing out Warriors head honcho. So David Riccio, through the Daily Telegraph, New Zealand Rugby have made an unofficial approach from the major sporting code to Warriors CEO Cameron George. I don't mind this because he's doing a terrific job over there, and to pinch him, I think that could be a great coup for New Zealand Rugby if they can get their hands on him. I think I'm Peter V'landys. I'm doing everything I can to keep him in the job. He's done a terrific job as Cameron George. Sources with knowledge of the situation have revealed that George was recently contacted by the well-placed figure of influence at New Zealand Rugby to discuss if he would be interested in leading rugby across the Tasman by replacing departing CEO and former All Black Mark Robinson. So that is this position widely considered to be one of the most important jobs in New Zealand, and not just in sport. It's a huge endorsement for Cameron George, and he would be a huge loss if Rugby League lost him.
It would be, but like if you're a Kiwi, this is the biggest job in New Zealand sport.
So do you see it happening then?
I see it happening. If you're getting offered that, we can't hold him back. Let him fly. Just like we let little Johnny fly earlier.
But the Warriors are so close to...
Understand, but
the game needs them winning a comp.
Yeah, I agree. But we're holding him back. That would be the most... When you go into this sort of business as a CEO or as a general manager, if you got offered that job, you're from New Zealand and this is the biggest... This rugby is the biggest sport over there. He would want to take
Okay, let me ask you something seriously here. Peter V'landys, if he could throw into the coffers, Cameron George is so important to the development of New Zealand and rugby league. If you threw him an extra 500 on behalf of, or 600 on behalf of the NRL, right? It's not just the money you're giving him. It's the 12-point turnaround of him going to rugby.
I understand, but maybe he wants to do that.
Not everyone's replaceable. He would leave a hole in everything they've done good. Like Andrew Webster, Cameron George, they are on the right thing. And it'd be such a sad thing. And I appreciate that, Brian. And
it would be sad, but as I say, let them fly.
Okay, here's what he's achieved so far. Joined the Warriors in 2017. He replaced Jim Doyle as a CEO in 2018. He saw them through COVID. He made the decision to bring over Andrew Webster. The Warriors' biggest crowds under his tenure. It seems to be a sellout every single week. In fact, all games in 2024 were sold out. The pathway system is as good as any. I tell you what, I think is their reserve grade side still undefeated, or they're certainly flying.
Won 9 in a row, didn't they?
Yep.
10 in a row now. Thank you, sexy Semi.
He's brought the NRLW team back. They're flying, and I just hope we can keep him, but I understand what you're saying, Brian. Either way, I'm all right. Let me make you a promise, folks. I bet you this guy flies in either one or two departments as a coach or as a media identity. Adam Blair, mate, he is really good.
Yeah.
He was on the coverage yesterday, and I said to him, Blairy, who is going to be in this grand final? He said, I haven't worked out team number 2. I said, okay, well, who's team number 1, the Storm? He goes, no. He goes, the Canberra Raiders, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. Well, guess what? If they're going to be there, the captain of the Raiders, Joey Tapine, is going to be there, we think, and he joins the Run Home with Joel and Fletch. G'day, Joey.
Hey, brother, how are you?
How does that sound? Can a bloke like Adam Blair, who's been there many times, mate, he's convinced you boys will be there on that first Sunday in October.
Well, that's the hope, and I know the boys have a lot of faith in that, but it's a lot of footy to go till we get there.
Joey, was there anything you guys did in the off-season, or was there a training session, or was there something that you saw that led to this? I mean, you guys are absolutely flying, or was it just sort of the normal sort of off-season you had?
Yeah, we had. I think one of the big ones was, like, we had a big army camp. We didn't televise or do anything like that, but I think we got to see a lot of the young boys. We opened up a lot on that camp, and the preseason was very tough. Stick did not hold back, so we're all fit and we're flying. So hopefully we get to that final.
If he has held back in any part of his life, it's been keeping the young bloke, his own young fella, back. He's held him back, and many wingers have had their opportunity. And you were given a moment, I suppose, Joey, you'll never forget, and that was to do what for Jed Stuart?
Yeah, I got to let him know that he was going to debut, which made me nervous, man. I had to let him know that his dreams come true and all that hard work.
Wow.
And I've seen it all off season. That's why I had to convince Stick to let him come to Vegas. His work in the off season was unreal. He's probably one of our best defensive readers and on the wing, and he just deserved this opportunity. And that's what us and the leadership group told Stick. We had to back him and let him know we're confident in the son, just so he can put him in.
Do you feel, Joey, that he held him back because he was his son?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even when I told him, there's a lot of people know there's media and people aren't too afraid to share their opinions, and that's their opinion, but some of it's pretty nasty. And I think Jed's obviously earned his spot in the team. And for Stick, it's tough to see your son go through that, because he'll be getting questions like, is it only because he's my son? Which everyone understands.
He scores the try. What was that like?
Oh, man, I was pumped. I was more happy for him than when I scored my try, and I don't get many of them. So.
Hey, Joey, a couple of weeks back, we were talking about Big Papa's milestone game, breaking the record down there. That last 15, 20 minutes, there's some things that happen in rugby that you'll remember the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I will remember that, not only for the 2 tries, but the kick at the end and how everyone at that stadium what was it like being on the field?
They were chanting Papa's name on the field, and I got goosebumps. And those are the moments on the field I won't forget, but the celebration after, I won't forget either.
What'd you do? What'd you get up to?
Oh, he booked a place at one of the local, what is it, like RSLs, and we had that room in there, and got a little bar tab on.
Have you had many drinks, like drinking sessions with Stick? Because I know when he gets on a bit of a run, he'll say, we better pull back on the piss ups and stuff. Or have you allowed to just, if you want to go for a drink, you're allowed to?
I think we manage it through our turnovers, like depending on short turnarounds. But Stick's pretty disciplined when he has a drink. He's when we're drinking in the team room, he'll go to bed before 12. No matter what. So, but we have a couple of drinks. If it's not just in the room, me and Pops will just have a couple bottles of red or something.
Yeah, and you'll go to bed. As being the captain, you'll go to bed before 12 as well, I'd imagine. Joey?
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, it's a pretty imposing team you got there, and mate, you'll know this. That I know a lot of players say, "Oh, we don't read this, we don't read that," but a lot of people had selected the Canberra Raiders for the wooden spoon, and now you guys are just about the front runner to take the minor premiership. That's some achievement, because what that means, Joey Tapine, is that the market expectation of all the people out there just really didn't give the Mighty Green Machine a chance, and now you got people like Adam Blair saying this is the team who will be in the grand final.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I was a bit nervous. I was first year captain, and we had a wooden spoon. We were supposed to get a wooden spoon, so I was nervous going into that. But it was pretty easy. We had nothing to prove really. People had us last, so we just went out, played our football, worked hard, and we're doing that week in, week out now.
Joey, your halfback Jamal's obviously going to Manly last year. Did he address the team? Like, how was that received?
Yeah, he came around to individuals first, and then he let the team know, which is I thought was really mature. Obviously going to be a huge loss for us. He organises the team really well. He's a calm head amongst some of us heads, but it's footy and people move on. I've played nearly a lot of footy with a lot of freaks that have moved on and going to be missed, but it's part of the game.
We've never ever done this live, Joey Tapine, but we've got a captain here of a club, and you have the most wins in the premiership. Win-loss game, Brian. Let's quickly play this.
Okay, this is what's going the last...
The Raiders run home.
Okay, yes.
They got 12 wins.
Yep.
Newcastle Knights.
Win.
St George Illawarra Dragons.
By a long way.
Then they got the bye, then they host Parramatta.
Win.
Then they host the Knights.
Win again.
Then they meet the Dragons again.
Oh, wow. Win.
Then they host Manly.
Oh, this could be a game. It could be because it might be a Jamal game. You know, he's thinking, geez, do I just hold back from them because I'm going there next year? Yeah, win.
Okay, win. Then the bye. Then they take on in Mudgee, the Penny Panthers. They got a good record up there.
Yeah. I think are they favourites for the minor premiership, the Raiders?
Oh, well, they've got the most wins and they've got this in front of them. Then they've got the Tigers, then they've got the Dolphins, and then it is hello September football, Brian. Joey, that sounds all right.
Oh, it sounds good, but it's still, all those teams are still tough.
Yeah.
Can't get ahead of ourselves.
Well said.
I tell you who should get ahead of themselves. They shouldn't, but I think this kid is a superstar. And I would love for Game 3 for this kid to be drafted in because Raiders need more representation in this Blues camp at the very least.
You're going ES, aren't you?
Ethan Strange. Would you disagree with that, Joe Tapine?
No. I've loved his growth this year.
Yep.
He was in his shell a bit last year. He's opened up more now, and he's strong, versatile. I reckon he'll be a good shout there.
I tell you who one of my favourite players is, and I know I shouldn't say one of my favourite players. He started the year, and I just thought this kid, young Mark Nicholson.
Yeah.
Matt. How's Matty Nicholson? How's his injury? How's his ankle coming?
Yeah, he's coming along. I think he's still got a few weeks to go, but he can find a try line out like old Hutto.
Yeah.
But he's solid. And I don't realise in Pommies they look older than they are. He's only about 21.
He's only about 21.
Well, I was going to say that about Ethan Strange. Ethan looks about 40.
Yeah.
His mum's actually Pommy, so it must be a Pommy.
Oh, it's a Pommy thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Joey,
Morgan Smitty's too. He looks like he's 40.
Joey, I've got a mate who's a die-hard Knights fan, die-hard, and every time you play, he goes, "I can't believe we let him go." What went on up there? What did they say to you? Like, there's just no future here for you?
No, I think they did offer me something, but I had a bit of a rough time. I liked to party back then. I think I needed to grow up. I needed a new environment, and I got a bit of trouble. And I thought a new change was better for me. And there was a bit of a sour taste in my mouth from something that happened, but it all happened for the best, I think. I didn't start playing my better footy, not even when I first got down here. It probably took a couple more years to mature, and I'm happy where I am. I love Canberra. Even though everyone bags it, it's a beautiful place to live.
How old were you when you first went to Canberra?
I was 22, 23.
And was your head falling off going, what goes on down here? Like, because you come from Newcastle, you're on the beach, there's a bit of a party scene. Were you just going, oh gosh, what's going on here?
Nah, we had a good set of boys. We had CSOla, Pups, Saliva Havili. Like, we had a good group of, especially Polynesian boys that I could connect with. And we had a lot of late night music and garages, which I enjoyed when I first came down. So I couldn't complain.
What's a garage? When you say garage, is it a garage party?
A little garage. Like, I prefer that. You can play your own music. Yeah. No one bothers you, and you just have a drink. So
and then
I like doing that.
So when you do that, is it just the boys in there, or do all the partners and the girls?
Yeah, just
the
boys. Oh, you can get the girls together as well, like a little team bonding thing. We have barbecue or something.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that much more than going out.
And there's always one. There's always one person who will hog the cassette player or the computer. Now, who's the one who gets on there and just controls the DJing?
At the moment it's Starlo, but I think it's good because he mixes the music up. If you got Pops, he'll just play the music we like, which I don't mind, but Starlo gets a bit of mixture in there.
Because you're a big Taylor Swift fan, I understand, Joey.
No, that's free. That's Germ.
Chatting with Joey Tapine now. Ricky Stuart, of course, comes through the coaching tree of Tim Sheens. Now, Tim Sheens, the legendary coach, would always say that you need, in every premiership-winning outfit, you need the scallywag. Who is the scallywag? It might be Starlo. Is it someone else, or who's the scallywag in that Raiders side? The good
In
energy
what kind
player.
of way?
Oh, just
good
the character who can lighten up a hard time, or a
that's Starlo. Yeah,
Starlo.
Yeah, he's a good fellow. He's funny, and he doesn't pick who he mocks. He go after anyone, so it's good.
What about the? I mean, he's had a stormer of a year. You've got the good 1-2 punch combo with young Owen Paddy. How far do you reckon he can go in his career, young Paddy?
Oh, he's good, man. You watch him training. He does all the extras. I reckon he could be an Origin one year. He's a Queenslander, obviously, but the skill he has, the tempo he plays with, and his kicking game is unreal. So I'm looking forward to his development through the years. Hopefully he can give me some tries.
Now, we got Big Papa a couple. Just on that, on Origin chat, now we're talking about, people come out and saying we should just make it open slather, get the Kiwis in, get the Pommies in. What's your thoughts on that, Joey?
Well, I wouldn't mind the cash, but I think you keep it as is. You can't change it. But it's a beast of a game, and it's a hard one because you got different representation as well now. But you can't. I don't know if the Kiwis come play. It wouldn't mean as much as me playing for New Zealand,
Right. Okay. That was my next question. Yeah. If you had to choose.
Just on that, Joey, and there's a lot of debate around the scheduling and fixturing of State of Origin. Would you like for the NRL to go on pause at that time and maybe represent New Zealand more often in that same window?
Yeah, definitely. I was talking about the other day. It's hard to squeeze the Anzac tour in because there's so much, or Anzac game in because there's so much footy. But that would be a good idea. That.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I just feel, Joey, there's so many Polynesians coming into the game. I know it's now over 50%.
Yep.
I think it's closer to 60% now. So I just feel that the game has changed so much. We've had the tradition of Origin. I feel we should just open it up, but and I'm asking you, and you've said, well, not really, because I feel that representing.
I just don't want to. There's so much feeling towards that game. I don't want people to think it's different. I love representing my country. But how would the Origin thing work? Would it be where I first played footy? How would I be eligible to play,
Yeah, I'll make an executive decision. You'll be playing for New South Wales.
Hey, Joey, we've taken up a lot of your time, mate, and what you guys have achieved to this point is absolutely magnificent. And just the moments too, Brian, like the milk, the movement. I do think Joey Tapine and you guys are locked and loaded at the very least for finals. I do think we're in for the greatest final series of our lives, and you're going to be a major part of that. Thank you so much for spending a part of your day with the Run Home with Joel and Fletch, and all the best, and hopefully we can have a chat much closer to that September football.
Thank you, boys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Taps.
Class act, Brian.
Oh, it's good, isn't he?
Class act. Raiders fans, by the way, you can get tickets to GO Stadium. They are hot in demand. Hosting the Dragons next week. Get your tickets now at Ticketek. We played the draw game, the win-loss game. They got a plum draw, haven't they?
Haven't they? What? He's got the Fisher-Harris respect.
Yep.
What he did against the Warriors, they were getting beat, and something happened at a scrum. And he just turned, and you could see the Warriors players go, "Oh, we don't want to upset him."
Yep.
The rest of his forwards got on the back of it. You need that sort of player in the big games, like in semi-final football. Those blokes can turn around. It doesn't have to be a halfback kicking a 40-20.
Yep.
It's the guy that can just go, and he flicked the switch against. I saw it against the Warriors, and it's an asset that not many clubs have, and not that they don't have the players who could do it. But Joey's definitely one of them.
Whenever you've seen unheralded teams, if this team is unheralded, the no-name players or the lesser-name players, they eventually went on to play representative football. So if this Canberra side was to win the comp, Ethan Strange has probably gone on to play a lot of rep football.
Yep.
Nick Paddywhack, he says that he's going to play Origin.
Well, Hudson Young was arguably New South Wales' best in Game 2.
Mate, there's a big case to start him.
Yeah.
Mate, he's flying.
I feel that when he got put into Origin, he sort of doubted himself. He's thinking, I don't know whether I'm up for it. That's the way I looked at it, because his club football form was so great.
Yep.
He's a year older, or he's a couple of years older, and they couldn't. Yeah, you're right. They couldn't handle him sort of in game 1. He didn't get as much time in game 2. He was playing through the middle.
He's flying,
and they couldn't handle him. So they've got stars. Not like you said, they don't have stars yet, but you can see.
If you look back on it and said, "Oh, the Raiders won the comp in 2025,"
and you went, "Oh, KO Weeks was fullback." Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and he was there, in that call. Of course, they won it. That makes sense.
You're still here. We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade. But if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.